Hello, my dear ones. Welcome again to a new lecture or food for thought, let's call it like that, with me, Irini. And today I bring the topic of authenticity and presence. And these topics are somehow present lately for me because I'm preparing training, a 3 months training for facilitators of different stage of experience. It doesn't matter if you started now or if you're already doing this for years, where we speak about how to facilitate from a place of authenticity, presence, and purpose. And we don't only speak, but actually we embody this through exercises and through practices, through homework. And I'm not going to explain about this training. You can read on my website what it's all about. And if you need more details about the structures and how many meetings we will have and also price, just connect with me. What I want to speak about it is something about the real meaning of these words, authenticity and presence. Because I see nowadays many facilitators, and especially the younger ones, using these words very often in their offerings. And then I see, of course, other contents around also speaking about this. And I want to bring my my own understanding of these words, but also the trauma-informed perspective. And I don't speak from a place of criticizing. Is not the aim of this intervention. It's mostly to make people aware of what they don't see and what they might believe means authentic and presence, but actually it can be something else, or it might not be the real grounded reality. So to be authentic, in my perspective, in my understanding, is to know who you are. Because if you know who you are and you are able to bring this full awareness inside your body, because the body always plays a fundamental role in understanding the notions of some concepts and how we relate to these concepts in our daily life, but also in embodying those concepts, because some of them are important for who we are, how we express ourselves, and the work we do with ourselves and with the other people. So if you truly want to be authentic, in my opinion, you need to understand if you know who you truly are. And to know who you truly are, you need to know what or who you are not. And when I say this, I think about the fact that a trauma biography, and each of us carries one. For some is more complex, for others is less, but nevertheless, no one is safe. So a trauma biography is created in many cases through identifications, because the identification is one of those mechanisms that allow us to cope to several traumatic difficult events. And this identification process or processes take place very early in life. And the first identification is always with the mother, because of this symbiotic entanglement that we get with her as we have to live for 9 months or sometimes less in her womb. And then we identify ourselves with many people around us. And this is one of the main processes that contributes to the creation of an identity that is not ours. And we move through life by acquiring all these values, all these sometimes traits of personality, all this understanding of life and what it means to relate to life and to relate with other people and to ourselves. a lot based on this identification, on these so-called role models that we see around us. And some of these people, they really leave a very important imprint on us, others less. And so when we arrive more or less in an adult age, we often don't understand why certain things that we used to believe in or certain ways of approaching situations of people and circumstances do not work, or they don't resonate with us anymore. And then we start to think, okay, then maybe there is something inside me that I need to get a better look into it and reveal that part that is the authentic me. And then, of course, there are many ways to explore this path into authenticity. But from my own understanding of life, and it's already more than 50 years of life experience and more than 10 years of experience working with traumas and all sorts of healing processes, the fundamental work that needs to be done is working to uncover all these protective or coping mechanisms that we developed when we started to identify ourselves with other people and with their own values and ways of behaving, or even their beliefs or thoughts and so on. Because the path into real authenticity, it cannot go far away and be real with real results if you don't start to acquire a healthy identity, to understand who you are at your core, at your essence, without those identifications and mechanisms that you acquire along life. And that is something that is an invitation for each of you, and especially for those who work with other people, no matter in which setting or in which quality. Try to map for yourself those moments when you felt that you admire someone very much or you love that person very much, and see how much you identify with that person and what kind of behavior, belief, or thought or pattern you assimilated from them, from that person or from others too. Because that will be the first clues that you can get. Start to understand it. Yes, I am identified with these people. So then I have to do something to get out of identification and to discover the real me, the one I'm supposed to be without those layers of beliefs and values and behaviors that I took over. So that is about truly how to start. And then how to go on. Of course, you need therapy, because the therapy will give you those tools that you need to get out of the identification. And of course, there are therapy, there are healing sessions and many different things. But meeting yourself on a deeper layer, meeting yourself in those identification will give you a solution or a path where you can explore more and start to understand who is, what part of you is authentic and what part is a survival strategy or even a traumatized part of you. Because our psyche is extremely creative and will always search ways to escape into some dreamlike reality or creating all sorts of stories. But to the root, the authentic self can only exist when you know who you are, when you uncover your healthy identity. And this also means that you have to get out of that split or splits that happen when the traumatic event took place. And I can guarantee you, and I'm not saying this because I just want to use some nice words, but I can guarantee you that this will shift a lot in your life. Not only the perception of who you are, but always you will notice in the others a different way of looking to you and also relating to you, and you will find your ways too for this purpose. So if you truly want to be authentic, work on your identity and to be able to retrieve those parts that are healthy, not those that are still in a survival mode or in a traumatized mode. And then you will ask me probably how this relates with presence. Well, when you start to dig into your authentic self or into your own the identity and to retrieve it, you will notice that in many situations, when you had to cope with the split provoked by trauma, in many situations your body had to also disconnect. And this is one of the most common mechanisms. And you can disconnect through all these different survival strategies or coping mechanisms. You know, you have all that sequence of F, flight, fight, freeze. And there are also submit, attach, fown. So there is a whole categorization of how you can detach or disconnect from the body. But they all happen in the body also, because when you start to understand the different states that your body can be present according to the situation or according to the traumatic event that can create that state, then you start to become aware of how you react in certain situations and why, because you start to notice patterns. So presence, being present with yourself, with all parts of you, because in any moment, you cannot pretend that even if you worked for a while with this, that you are fully healed. There is always something else that comes up, right? This is a continuous process. But if you start in one point, after a while, working with this recovery of the health identity, you start to notice that your body also gains a different awareness of who you are, and especially a different awareness of your state, of your inner state, at the nervous system level, at the emotional level, and also from more like behavioral point of view, because then you will start to understand in certain situations that might have been triggering for you in the past, they stop being triggering, or in other situation you are able to speak for yourself or for what you think in a different way than you used to do it in the past. Or maybe in other situations again, you start to notice that you, before you speak, you start to pause and reflect on things and observe your inner state, so then you can achieve that calm, safe place where you can do something or speak from a place of fully embodied awareness. So authenticity and full presence inside your body, they are connected, because more you work on your nervous system and on your traumas, on your psychotrauma, as they are all contained in the body, more your body develops not only resilience, but develops that inner awareness and that groundedness that is needed for you to achieve a stable state, a safe, a communicative, open state. Whereas I said you don't need to perform, but you are just present, and you speak from a place of self-understanding and self-connection. Because understanding yourself, being present with what is inside you, knowing what to do with what is present, even if sometimes might be difficult, that gives you this presence and full awareness inside your body. So these aspects, as I already said, they are not only words. So when you want to use them, become aware what they carry as content, because that content lives inside your psyche and inside your body, in your nervous system. And if that content is not settled, that I said, and it doesn't come from a place of safety, of really knowing I'm here and I'm present, I know how to deal with this, then you will stumble. Then you will just perform to show that you know what is to be authentic and present, but in reality, you will not be that. And the people will feel it, and the people will actually start to question. And if they don't feel it, is because they also carry the same degree of disconnection and lack of self-awareness as you. So be curious. That is my invitation for you today. Be curious and start to learn about yourself. Work with those parts of you that you still know that they are still not fully embodied or present or authentic. So then you can achieve slowly a different state. And it's very possible, because it is what usually happens to me. And this is something that I address to only facilitators of workshops or retreats, as I saw it happening with me. At the beginning, I was not fully aware of many things. And of course, I was still going on chasing some illusions and trying to convince myself of things. But then at a certain point, while I was also on a different level of awareness of myself, I started to notice those patterns related with the fact that when I propose something like a workshop topic or something I want to work with a group, for example, I tend to do or to choose the topics where I, without even being 100%, it's not always 100% obvious to me, but those topics are something where I still need to learn something. And this is what I also notice in fact, in reality, with many facilitators, because I have this understanding that even if they don't have so much experience of facilitation, they are called to facilitate a certain topic because they still need to ground themselves in the topic and to figure this out. And I'm going to give an example. If you're a facilitator that is very much attracted by the topic of Kundalini activation, right? There is a very popular trend nowadays here in Oslo. Many people offering Kundalini activation, both women and men. And I started to observe what is happening there. And then I started to notice a pattern, even in the way they promote certain things and so on. And then I understood that for them it's important to propose this topic because it's something, of course, they might have their own techniques and tools to do these activations, but it's something inside them that requires, somehow demands, even at the subconscious level, that they activate something in other people so they can feel they are activated also. And as I said, that is not criticism. It's a trauma-informed perspective, because I often see things that many people don't see. And even if it triggers you, this observation, take it with a bit of salt and see if there is any truth in it. Make an authentic approach and try to find what is present there behind this. Another situation, I also noticed there is a trend about a lot of this playing and embodiment topics, which is also, again, very popular, especially among young people. I also went to some workshops and I found them fun and very interesting, very explorative. And it's nice to do it with a group because it's always a different dynamic that comes up, and you can explore many parts of you and in all these interactions with other people. But what I see again in these offerings is that facilitators themselves, even if they have experience, I don't argue with this, they might have experience with embodiment techniques and tools, but I think there is an inner need for them to explore more and to understand more about themselves in terms of embodiment and playing. And therefore, their offering will go in this way, in this direction. So they will attract those people who also need to do something about it. The same with conscious or authentic connections. Who proposes this kind of offerings probably has inside still someone, most of the times is what we call the inner child or an inner teenager, depends on the age of that part of you. You still have someone inside you that needs your attention and connection, but then you resolve this request or this need by going and proposing it to other people so you can connect with them and find pleasure and find somehow self-fulfillment that you address the topic. But it's always a way to go outside of you. And it might be that your inner need is not even fully met, no matter how many workshops you are going to do. And again, I hope this doesn't trigger you, because I'm not saying it with this intention to criticize or trigger, but to show you that there is a small seed of truth in this, and that you might want to explore, to actually see beyond and see behind, to see into the hidden. I became a master of seeing the hidden. And after so many hours of exploration with myself, I know what I'm saying. And I say it from the heart. And if you want to explore more on an individual setting, one-to-one session, I'm always available. So I can show you that what I say has a good background and understanding, is not said just to be said. Yes, so these are a few examples I gave. This is one also of the reasons that nowadays I'm not holding space for so much group sessions or workshops, because I realize that one of my main interests will actually be to support you, to support those who are still searching for that authentic present space inside themselves, to support facilitators to facilitate themselves and to understand the connection with the bigger field, that is the morphic field, not only with the field they facilitate when they deal with a group or a person. Because there are many things that are not obvious. There are many tricks and tips that you can get just by doing some very simple basic practices of reconnecting with who you truly are and discovering who you truly are, what means a healthy identity, what means to be embodied and present, not only in your physical body, but in your emotional, in your mental and psychological body too. Because there are so many layers and so many things that are hidden to your subconscious understanding and experience. And I have the level of experience and understanding to take you there into the hidden, and to make sure that you don't get lost there, but you come back with a different awareness and with a fully present, authentic self, a recovered identity. So I hope I made you curious. I hope I sparked something inside you, maybe a quest or a question. And I'm here for you. Connect with me if you want to know more about this training. We will start around the new moon in August. I think it's around 12th of August, and it will be for 3 months. And I hope I can get that group that is willing to explore together with me what means to facilitate ourselves and to facilitate the field, and how they interact, all these parts of us, with the field and with the others that are present in the field. Thank you so much. I hope you have a blessed day, and see you next. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this intervention if you enjoy it. Bye-bye.